Let's talk about something we've discussed a little bit on the programme already this morning. When 18-year-old Oliver McGowan died in 2016, his family began campaigning for better training for NHS staff working with patients with learning difficulties and autism.
They work there. Other families have they've resulted in the launch of a new training programme named in Oliver's memory. It's due to be trialled in the NHS in England next year. We can speak now to Oliver's mum, Paula, who joins us from New South Wales in Australia, and from Dan Scorer for the charity MENCAP, as well as in the studio with us here in Salford. Thank you very much for coming in. Paula, if we could come to you first of all. You've been campaigning about this for an awfully long time. Do you feel it's a big breakthrough?
I do. It's the first step forward. It's been worth the campaign work, but it's the beginning to addressing the inequalities of the healthcare needs of people who have autism and learning disabilities.
And I know you've spoken to us on this programme, Paula, during your long fight to get this to happen. Just tell us a little bit about Oliver and what happened.
Oliver was just a normal teenager enjoying his life. He had autism and a mild learning disability as a result of meningitis as a baby. He was a talented footballer playing for our England development squads. He was an athlete. He was ranked third best in the country and was in training to be a Paralympian. He was full of life and we just all absolutely loved him, but they were drawn to him as a person. He was always striving to be the best he could be, always helping people who were less able than himself, who were vulnerable. That was my boy. He was just lovely.
And he was given an antipsychotic medication, wasn't he?
So Oliver had what we call partial seizures. So many will recognise them to be absence-type seizures. Now, we'd brought him to hospital having these seizures, and because of a previous reaction to antipsychotics, we brought a folder saying Oliver's previous reactions and what other doctors had said, and it was that he was intolerant to all antipsychotic medications. And we made this absolutely clear to the doctors treating Oliver, but Oliver himself had made it clear. But sadly, because I believe of his labels attached to his being his autism and his learning disability, that medication was given that evening without us knowing about it. And sadly, it caused Oliver's brain to swell so badly it was coming out the base of his skull. And Oliver lost his life. He lost his life due to people not being able to understand Oliver's autistic behaviours, not being able to understand his learning disabilities, not being able to understand how to make reasonable adjustments. And Oliver paid a heavy price for that.
Let's just pick up some of your thoughts, if we can, with Dan Scorer, who's from MENCAP. And it's just desperate hearing that, isn't it? Do you think this training will really make a difference to other people in similar situations?
Yes, we hope so. And we have to remember that every year, over 1,000 people with a learning disability die avoidably when if they got good quality healthcare at the right time, their lives could have been saved. And so this training was a key recommendation coming out of a government review looking into those deaths. And so it's absolutely vital now that the government move ahead with this and implement it as soon as possible.
Do you think the proposals go far enough? Because Jane McCubbin, who's followed this story for many years for us on BBC Breakfast, she was talking earlier about the fact that it might be until 2022 before it's actually used widely.
That's right. I think the time is definitely an issue. Every day more people with a learning disability and people with autism are dying avoidably. If staff working across the health and care sector had training around how to make simple changes about how people can be cared for, their lives potentially could have been saved. Really simple things like giving people more time, giving them information in an easy read format they can read. For people with autism, giving them a quiet space where they can be communicated with away from bright lights and noise. Really simple things that can make a massive difference to the care of people.
And it's from what I've read about the training, it sounds like there'll be sort of different levels of training for people who might come into contact, various different levels of contact, for example.
That's right. So everyone across the health and care services needs to have this training, whether they're a receptionist or whether they're a doctor working in surgery. So everyone needs to have that awareness and understanding of the changes that they can make that potentially will save lives.
Let's go and put some of those points back to Paula as well. 'Cause I wonder whether was there something specific you think that might have made a difference in your case, or something you're really looking forward to knowing that all staff will be aware of going forward?
I think doctors and nurses, medics, being able to understand Oliver and treating him first as a person rather than a person with a label would have helped greatly. Reassurance, modifying language, just adapting how their behaviour affected him. It's just the most basic of things, really, to be honest. And it could have had a massive different outcome for Oliver. But it's respecting people and treating them as equals and keeping them at the heart and at the centre of everything that you do. Give them a voice. They have a voice and they have a right to be listened to.
And I know the training is being named in memory of Oliver. How does that make you feel?
Well, obviously, we are incredibly happy with this. This is why I've been campaigning so hard and so long, dedicating over 13 hours a day to this. And, this is Oliver's legacy. But what it does do is it personifies the training so that when NHS staff and social care staff receive this training, they will see Oliver's face and they will remember that he is the absolute reason why we've got this training. It's because Oliver lost his life in a way that he should never have done. So yes, it is Oliver's legacy and we're very proud. It's a way of Oliver giving back, but we must also remember exactly what it's all about, and it's about getting this training to try to prevent some of these horrendous deaths that are happening in our country.
Oh, Paula McGowan, thank you very much indeed for your time here on Breakfast. Thank you so much. Also, Dan Scorer from Mencap. Thanks.
Do let us know what you think about that this morning as well. Normal way of getting in contact, social media, we're out there all morning, and bbcbreakfast@bbc.co.uk is our email address, which is always busy of the morning.